Good morning from the National Weather Service in Raleigh. My name is Aaron Swiggett, and meteorologist here, and I will be providing the routine weekly briefing on a special Tuesday today, September 2nd, through Monday, September 8th. Thank you all for joining me this morning. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, I just want to take a quick look back on August and how that overall shaped up as far as the temperatures and whatnot. But I think one of the things that was most interesting was how cool we were. Greensboro and Raleigh were in the top 10 of their coolest Augusts on record, and was as far as a geographical comparison on where those weather conditions, as far as highs in the low 80s and lows in the mid 60s, very comparable to Boston and New York. So I hope everyone enjoyed their August in the Northeast this past August. All right, so let's go ahead and look ahead here. So for the most part, we have some continued cool and dry conditions. In the top left panel here, you can kind of see this broad area of high pressure with the blue H's there hanging out and giving us those conditions. That should largely stay in place into Thursday, but you can kind of see this approaching cold front. We may have some isolated, just maybe some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Maybe the northwestern Piedmont, including the Triad area, so we'll be keeping an eye out on that for Thursday. But then Friday should be dry, and then Saturday we should have this cold front still to our west, so that may allow temperatures to rise up pretty warm, upper 80s, low to mid 90s in some spots as well. So we'll be getting into that here in a second. But Saturday looks to be the warmest day with that front just to the west here in the bottom left, progressing through us as the big area of high pressure moves across the Great Lakes by Monday. So we should see at least a return back to near normal temperatures, and maybe some scattered showers and thunderstorms along across the coastal plain into South Carolina. But overall, not too bad. So I mentioned some rain chances here. So let's look at the next 5 days or so. You can kind of see Thursday has some low amounts, but for the most part, those may be more hit and miss on Thursday, as opposed to a wide area of light amounts, maybe some isolated amounts of higher amounts, but overall nothing too impressive so far from what we're looking at for Thursday. Friday, as I mentioned, dry, and then Saturday, mostly probably Saturday afternoon, evening, maybe Saturday night, as that front kind of pushes through and allows for some precipitation to develop on Saturday. So the 5-day total looks pretty benign for the most part, and most of that precipitation coming on Saturday. So we'll keep an eye on that. A little bit of a caveat, there's a little bit of uncertainty on when that front will move through, so that may be those precipitation chances may be Saturday, maybe Saturday night, maybe Sunday. So we're keeping an eye on that, but for the most part, still expecting overall relatively light amounts as far as the general consensus. And just looking at the thunderstorm potential, for the most part, even today, tomorrow, I mentioned pretty quiet weather. Thursday, the whole area has a general thunder risk, but for the most part, the best area will most likely be across the northwest Piedmont. So kind of highlight generalized area. So kind of highlighting the Piedmont area there, but the northwestern Piedmont section may be an increased area where we may see some rumble of thunder or two going forward during the afternoon and evening during that time frame. But we're not expecting any severe at this time. And also I wanted to highlight, we usually highlight the heat risk days 1 through 3, but cool and calm conditions lead to a pretty low risk for that. So I wanted to highlight Thursday, Friday, Saturday as we're starting to head into the weekend. I mentioned we're starting to warm up, so you can kind of see the heat risk starting to highlight that here. Starting to see the moderate heat risk starting to show up across the eastern Piedmont, coastal plains, sandhills, and then it expands over a majority of the area by Saturday. And then Saturday, we may see some heat indices approach about 100 degrees or so across the sandhills and southern coastal plains. So just a reminder that, early September, you can still get some pretty warm temperatures. For the most part, most individuals are fairly acclimated, but still after a whole August of well below normal temperatures, and especially out in the sun, heat-related illnesses can still sneak up on you. So we're still trying to highlight that as best we can. Taking a quick look here at the tropics, National Hurricane Center is still tracking just one area. So in the next 2 days, you can kind of see here in the top right, a 30% chance of development of a little area of interest just off the African coast. With a developmental region in the next 7 days at 70% in the central Atlantic, So we'll be keeping an eye on that. If this were to develop, it would be Gabrielle, if it were to be named. And we are watching it, but for now, still plenty of distance away and not much of a concern, even in the medium to extended forecast models. So we're keeping an eye on it, but no cause for any concern here in Central North Carolina for now. And just a quick look here, going beyond the first week, so week 2 basically of the forecast, slightly favoring some below normal temperatures. So continuing that, you can kind of see the updated normal temperatures down there across the bottom for our 3 climate sites. So favoring some below normal temperatures there. So still nice this time of year when we're favoring below normal temperatures. So that is nice. Maybe some low 80s to upper 70s as far as highs go. And then slightly favoring as well some above normal precipitation chances, but near normal to slightly favoring above normal. And that is basically the early to mid portions of September there. And then taking a look here finally at the graphical hazardous weather outlook. Just wanted to highlight here just a couple of days of thunder chances here. Thursday, mostly across the Northwest. And then this Saturday, Sunday, Monday is, an association with that front, and then Sunday, Monday, for the most part, is mostly going to be confined towards the coast and down towards the South Carolina border there. So Saturday may be the better chance area-wide for a rumble of thunder or two. And then the graphic here on the top right is just highlighting that extreme heat threat, and that is basically the area in which we have heat indices of greater than 100. So you can kind of see that graphically as I was talking about earlier, south and east of the triangle. All right, and that's about everything I have for everyone today. And then a quick look down there at the temperatures for the Raleigh area through Saturday. You can kind of see a 93 popping up there. So going to get pretty warm comparatively to what we have been seeing. But that's what I have for everyone today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see everyone on Thursday.